Nathan, are we ready? Okay, it's 6:30. We'll begin. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the City Council meeting for the City of Fairway, Kansas. It is Monday, April 11th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have two announcements this evening. First of all, there is one item that was added to new business. Item F, we will be looking at the agreement for the Mid-America pool renovations for repairs to the swimming pool liner. That was not included in the packet that was posted on Thursday. This is an addition that we made today. And I will also have a second proclamation for Earth Day. All right. First proclamation is Arbor Day. City of Fairway, Kansas proclamation, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, do hereby proclaim April 29th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Fairway, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 11th day of April, 2022. The second proclamation, the City of Fairway, Kansas, is for Earth Day of 2022, whereas April 22nd is officially recognized as Earth Day. And whereas Earth Day is an opportunity to renew America's commitment to preserving and protecting the state of our environment through community service and responsible stewardship. And whereas the global theme for Earth Day 2022 is Restore Our Earth, which focuses on natural processes, emerging green technologies, and innovative thinking that can restore the world's ecosystems. And whereas on Earth Day, let us recognize the role that each of us can play to increase awareness about the importance of environmental education and spur progress towards global environmental and climate literacy. And whereas the City of Fairway supports Earth Day to raise awareness on the impact our actions may have on our environment and the earth as a whole. Now, therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2022 as Earth Day in the City of Fairway, and I encourage all citizens to take responsibility to care for the world in which we live. Dated this 11th day of April, 2022. All right, we'll move on to the monthly reports of the standing committees. Chief Chick from Consolidated Fire District 22 is not in attendance this evening, so we'll let his report stand as submitted.
Mayor?
Yes.
He is planning on being here. He's just coming from a different meeting, so
okay.
We can let him do his report when he gets here.
Okay, got it. Administration and Finance, which is our new committee of the whole. Nathan?
Yes, we met on March 30th, and you can see we had quite an agenda. It is all recapped, both in the minutes for the administration committee, not minutes, I should say, the recap under the administration committee report, as well as the finance section is under the finance report. Lots of good topics. Some of them are on the agenda this evening, including the contract for Wood O'Brien's, but I am happy to answer any questions of either finance or administration.
Any questions for Nathan? All right, we'll move on to the police committee. Chief Thurlow?
I'll let my report stand. Our officers have been extremely busy as of late. There is a lot of activity around us as well as in the city. In fact, today a lawn worker discovered one of our residents down inside a residence, and the individual was unresponsive. Officers made entry into the house and saved that individual's life. So we are actively working in the community all the time. But I do want to just make a note that things are unfortunately a lot more violent. And we haven't seen that as a direct result in this city as of late, but our officers are backing other agencies where we've seen extreme violence. So I just want to make that note, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for the chief? You and all the officers will be in our prayers.
Thank you. We need all the help we can get, Mayor.
Public Works, Bill?
I will also let my report stand as submitted. Included in my monthly report are our latest latest round of street sweeping, as well as what I hope is our final winter tally of total expenditures for the year. If not, you're going to find my keys on my desk. We're tired of snow, threats of snow, snow-like substances. Other than that, we are in full spring mode with mowing. We went from boys at chili to everything's green and 18 inches tall now pretty quick, so that'll consume our time for the next few months. Subject to any questions you guys have.
And are there any for Bill? All right. Parks and Rec, Bryce?
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to add to my report. I failed to mention Arbor Day is coming up, the celebration, when you're going to be there with us for the second grade Highlands kids that come down around lunchtime to celebrate Arbor Day with us. And we get to plant the tree, and then that tree goes somewhere else, usually in the city fairway. But every kid leaves with a sapling as well, and then they play on the playground after the ceremony and have a great time. So hopefully we have some good weather.
Great. Any questions for Parks and Rec? Jenna?
Bryce, I just wanted to see how Saturday's cleanup went of the mission.
Good. We had a pre-cleanup with Bishop Miege High School. So we had a lot of the let's say grunt work, but we had young kids with strong bodies that were able to move a lot of heavy things. So we had that the week before, and so most of it was taking out some of the brush along the creek there, and then with the Saturday cleanup, then they were able to. We didn't have quite as many volunteers this time, so they were able to kind of fine-tune what they didn't get the previous week.
Any other questions?
Quick question. Peterson Park,
Yep.
Is there any plans to, I guess what I would guess would have to be like sodding some of those areas that are just flat out dirt and mud now?
So we tried to plant seed there, and we have mature trees there that just don't allow sunlight in. There's not any plans at this point to put that in because I'm not sure it's going to live. So essentially, if we need to find a different method of using those grounds, we can try to do that. But I just don't have too much confidence that it's going. We have irrigation, we have everything else right there. It just doesn't get much sunlight with the mature trees.
And you're the expert, and everything else looks great. It's just when you're driving on Mission, that's probably the worst looking spot on Mission of all the houses, and it's at the park.
Yeah,
right
sure.
there. So mulch or something.
Ivy, ground cover. You can get a lot of shade ground covers that'll at least be green. And then if it works there, come to my yard. Help me out.
Any other questions for Bryce? Okay. Monthly reports of the special committees, tree board.
We don't have a report, but I think they're working on getting a meeting scheduled.
Okay, great. Just so you all know, I've, I don't want to use the word instructed Nathan, but I told Nathan that I want that tree board to be as active a committee as the standing committees. So my appointments reflect that, and you'll see them meeting quarterly and putting together an annual plan, just like the other committees do. Okay? Next, we'll move on to public comment for the consent agenda items only. Before I do that, I will read those into the record. We only have two this evening. One is to approve the minutes of the previous regular city council meeting, and B is approve the claims and appropriations, ordinance number 1761 for March of 2022.
Mayor, I did receive a spelling correction this evening from Councilwoman Busick, and then as well as you had a non-substantive change as well earlier today.
Okay,
So
and those have been
those
made.
will both be incorporated.
Is there any public comment? Nathan, do you have any on Zoom? Okay. All right, we'll close that section of the public comment. These items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration and a separate motion. Does anyone on the council wish to do that? No? All right. Is there a motion?
Joe Levin, Ward 3, I move that we approve items A and B of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve both items under consent agenda. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, we'll move on to new business. Yes.
If it's all right with you, I think we've got one member in the audience. I believe they're here for item E. Would there be any way to possibly move that one up?
Yeah, we can do that. Is that why you're here? Okay. Well, we'll do that. And then if you want to leave, you can leave. But you're welcome to stay. All right. We'll move on to new business. We will entertain a public comment after each of the items on the agenda. At the request of Councilman Bailey, we will consider item E first. Consider the permit extension request for 5723 Windsor Drive. Nathan?
Mayor, I'll let Basil's report stand as he has submitted it here, just with the addition that staff is supportive of this extension.
Okay. Council, is there any discussion? All right. Is there any public comment? Do you have anything you'd like to say? Nope. Okay. All right. I will entertain a motion.
David Watkins, Ward 3. I move that we grant the requested permit extension for 5723 Windsor Drive, which is for an additional 6 months at the half fee rate.
Dan Bailey, Ward 2, second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we do extend the permit for 5723 Windsor Drive. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Okay. We'll go back to A, item on the new agenda. Thank you for coming. Consider CARS 5-year plan. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. This is our standard CARS 5-year plan that we sign our resolution with the county annually for the next 5 years out. This is the planning years 2023 to 2027. Details of the proposed projects are in the packet. This year is Buena Vista and 53rd Street up to Mission Road. 2023 will be Mission Road, or excuse me, 53rd Street from Mission Road to St. Agnes, right in front of the Indian Mission for next year will be the next most immediate project. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mayor, I would just add that as a part of this action item tonight, the council does need to pass a resolution. And we've filled in the letter. It wasn't as a part of the packet, but if a motion is made to consider or excuse me, to pass the resolution, it's Resolution 2022C.
Okay.
I always leave it blank because I guess wrong every year.
Also in the packet, the date for the signature or the approval rate was 2020, so that was also corrected.
Right. Yep. We made that change this morning. All right.
There's everything but the year.
Are there any questions for Bill from the council?
I have a question about,
Yes, Jenna?
yes, for 2024, when we do row between Shawnee Mission and 63rd, I assume there's going to be consideration for the school year and trying to do it, I guess, before and after. Okay, that's my only concern there.
We'll
Yeah, that's standard
we try and
operating.
target summer for
Yeah.
most of our CIP projects, but we would definitely do it for that.
Okay, otherwise we're going to have some angry parents, so
No, that, we wouldn't do that.
we wouldn't do that.
No, that's standard operating procedure, right, Bill? Okay. All right, is there anything else?
Mayor, I would just add that for 2023, with the 53rd Street project, Bill and I met with members of the Shawnee Indian Mission Foundation. One of the parts of their long-range plan is to create some sort of a delineation to let people know when they're passing through the mission. So whether that be some sort of a stamped concrete boundary lines on each side of the mission property, and then also in there as a part of our ongoing programming there, Bill has included a push-button crosswalk. That would be installed at approximately where the existing crosswalk is between the west and the north buildings to allow for safer pedestrian passage of 53rd Street.
Good information. Anything else? All right, I'll open up for public comment. Anything, Nathan? All right, we'll close public comment. And I will ask for a motion for the CARS 5-year plan as presented,
I move to approve item A, the CARD's 5-year plan,
including the resolution.
including the resolution.
Okay. Is there a
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the CARS 5-year plan as presented with Resolution 2022C. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Oh, good timing. You don't even have to sit down. Come on forward. Welcome, Chief. I know you're
apologize
running
for-
from, oh, no, never apologize. You're running from one council meeting to another.
That is correct.
We're glad you're here.
Thanks for having me tonight.
You bet.
Several comments on behalf of the district.
Please identify yourself.
Yes. Steve Chick, I'm the fire chief for Consolidated Fire District Number 2.
Thank you.
Several comments that come to mind on behalf of the district. First of all, wanted to thank the council and staff for all the work that went into some of the recent development projects and the foresight and the thought that they put into it on many levels. And we just wanted you to know we very much appreciate those efforts.
You are very welcome.
So I had spoken to the council, last year about putting a new unit in service. We put a second unit out of Station 22, which is 63rd and Mission Road. That's the first response area for Fairway, of course. One of the positive effects we're seeing from that in the first quarter is that we're approaching 18-20% sometimes back-to-back calls, which means that previously Engine 22 would have been out on a call, and if another call came in, we had to bring somebody from one of the other stations to cover that emergency. With a second unit out of that station, we're seeing nearly 20% of the time that both of them are busy. So it was a good move. It's paying dividends in response, and so we're very happy with that. Our ALS program, Advanced Life Support Program, is growing very nicely. Our plan was to build it on the ends of the district so that it could respond to the center, and we've done that, and we had about a 5-year maximum goal of when we wanted to reach that. We thought we might be able to reach it in 3 or 4. Looks like we're going to reach that in just under 3. And so we're ahead of schedule on that. It's going very well. We've had no trouble with educating and hiring the right people to do it. So we're excited about what we're able to deliver to the public with the ALS program.
Outstanding.
So one last thing I'd like to tell you about is an initiative that we started, and I may have mentioned it to the council last quarter of last year, but we have a replacement cycle on all of our fire apparatus. And that cycle is determined on when we can resell the apparatus after we've used it and for the maximum amount of money, and then replace that for the least amount of money. And so this last year, when we went into a replacement cycle, we had planned to buy a fire truck a year for the next several years. And so an engine, which is our water hauler, no ladder on top, just the engine. And so those have a shelf life for us of about 10 or 12 years. If you get outside of the 12-year mark, then the price drops off drastically that we can resell them for, and it costs us a lot more to replace them. So we went into that project and said, hey, fire trucks are expensive. Spending that money is something that's near and dear to our heart. We want to make sure that we do that right. We asked for a bid for the last engine that we had built out of Station 22, which was Engine 22. It's not due to be replaced for several years, but as of August last year, the estimate of what it would cost to replace that engine would be about $820,000 for one engine. Since then, we've seen almost 18% market increase. And so the prices are into the 900s. And so we knew that we needed to be very, very careful with the taxpayers' money. And so we put a group together that worked really hard on building some work trucks that would still do everything that we need them to do, but didn't have a lot of fluff on them. And I'm pleased to bring to you that we ordered 2 trucks at the price of $665,000 before the price increases hit, so we avoided the 18% increase. In addition to that, after we went to the factory for engineering and pre-build, we were able to cut another $15,000 off the price of the engines. So we've gotten the price of our new engines down to about $650,000. And so we feel like that's a substantial savings for the taxpayer, and we're pretty proud of that work.
Thank you. Yes, very, very wise financial.
We're working hard at it.
Yes.
So, beyond that, we're seeing a pretty marked increase in EMS calls in this northeast area. It shouldn't surprise anybody. We do have an aging community, and that's something that we've been planning for. It makes us look like we really kind of knew what we were doing when we built this ALS program. So, and I want to showcase a call that happened today. We had a call in Fairway that that we were notified there was a gentleman down in his home. PD quickly got on scene. They beat us there almost all the time because of their proximity. Our partnership with PD is really strong. We're so proud of that. It's not that way all over the country, I'll be honest with you. A lot of police departments and fire departments butt heads, but we don't. We really appreciate and care for our police department, and so we appreciate what the chief's done to make that relationship what it is today. But we were able to get on scene. PD was already there and had assessed the situation. We had additional information before we got there, and we could get right to taking care of the patient and get them transported. And so those kind of relationships and the exchange of information that don't happen in other places do happen here, and we're pretty proud of what it does for us. So I'll stand for any questions.
Any for the chief?
Regarding the call today,
Yeah.
how much information can you share or not share as far
I
as?
can't share any identifying information.
Right.
I'm happy to answer what I can.
Situation's handled.
Situation is handled.
Good, and everybody's okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So appreciate it. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you coming, chief. All right, we will move on to item B under new business. Consider letter of intent to fund 2023 Suwannee Stormwater Project. Bill, that one's you too.
I'm back.
You're back.
Thanks. This is a letter of intent from the county for reimbursement funding for the replacement of a considering our larger storm sewer network a relatively small line. But if you remember, whenever we got our CCTV information back, that we had a very small window to apply for funding for 2023. Instead of waiting until we got our full report back with our prioritized list, I knew this line was in dire need. We Band-Aided it 2 or 3 times in the past. It's poorly aligned, and the homeowners have been a lot nicer than I would be for geysers showing up in their backyard just because the pipe collapses. So we knew this was a line of need, and as you can see, I believe it's ranked third.
Yes, second.
On return on
Yes,
investment
second.
of all the lines that were put forward for funding in 2023. So it's obviously a definite need. So we did receive the funding allotment. All we need to do is sign the letter of intent, and we will receive 50% funding of our expenditures up to, I believe it was $44,000. The entire project is estimated to be at $96,000, and we will fund that project with our stormwater utility fee.
Okay. And will you please explain for the record how this relates to the stormwater management process and where this all fits?
This, like I said, whenever we've known this has been a line in need, and our CCTV work confirmed that. We still don't have our full prioritized list yet from TREC. They're working on it now, but this fits in with Johnson County Stormwater. This was part of their business model rewrite. Originally, the original intent for the stormwater management program was to fund capacity type issues. So you're going into older neighborhoods, you're putting in new pipe, new larger pipe to carry more capacity, things like that. I sat on the committee that helped rewrite the business model, and one of the things that we included in that, along with closed circuit television of storm sewers, was a maintenance aspect of this. So we're allowed to go back in areas that we would normally have to pay 100% of the replacement cost for, that we are eligible for up to 50% funding for those. And also it includes the, part of the business rewrite was also our watershed committees and breaking everything up into a watershed. And if a project is deemed to, benefit the entire watershed, it would be 100% funded. And from looking at the rough draft, which it's not finalized yet, but 3 of the top 5, I believe, watershed projects are in Fairway.
You still chair one of those committees?
Yes, lucky me. I chaired it for a whole 2 years, and we didn't do anything. So whenever we held our first meeting in 2 years, we held our first meeting where we elected officers, and then 3 days later, COVID. So they had the second meeting, and everyone that was an officer before is still an officer.
So you get to be that another year. So that process that's been in place, or it's been worked on for the past few years, is finally now beginning
Starting to bear fruit.
to move.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the other committees that I sat on, we also started a home buyout aspect of the stormwater management program. So before, whenever you got 75% funding for just capacity type issues, now there's a broad spectrum of tools in the toolbox that the city of Fairway can apply for, or our residents can apply for. Now, not everything is up to the 75% funding. Still the same pot of money, we just divvied it up different. So now most of the funding is closer to 50%, but that's better than we were. We were probably maxed out on our capacity issues. Now we really need to start replacing old stuff, and I'm glad to say that we're going to apply for a lot of funding for that.
Can you give a little more detail on when someone hears home buyout, what that means?
It's a 100% voluntary program. If some, I don't want to be too specific, but I'm sure some people sitting in this governing body remember someone approached the city about a possible buyout. This would be something that could fit into that. It's only 50% of currently 50% of appraised value, but it's a program that exists now that did not exist before.
Okay.
Before, we had nothing to offer that family, and now at least we do.
Okay, thank you.
So that program is up and running now? There's information somewhere?
I don't, yeah, it will be up and running for 2023. So, be like third quarter of this year.
Okay.
Will we put that on our website? Nathan, will we?
Yeah, we can, but I think I want to just clarify that through the watershed program, the county would offer up to 50% of the property value. That would mean someone else has to take care of the other 50%, whether that's, if the city were to make an offer, or if the city were approached, we could supplement that, or, we could share that, other 50% with the homeowner, essentially meaning they would take a loss. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that it's 50% coming from the county program. The other 50% to cover the purchase of a property is undefined.
Right. That's the detail I was looking
Yeah.
for, because if someone were just listening tonight, they'd think, oh, somebody's going to buy my home.
Right.
Well, they will, but not necessarily at 100% of the appraised value.
Correct.
And
Build
the
a-
city does not budget for that,
No.
and does not have the capability to budget for that. I mean, we have the capability to budget for it, but we wouldn't have a balanced budget at the current mill levy.
It would be like telling Bill to budget for every snowstorm in a year. You can't anticipate that, and so you don't budget for it. Yeah.
And what's the criteria then for someone to request that? I assume there's.
It would come through the city. We did decide that we did not want homeowners reaching out, because the first thing SMAC is going to do, or the Stormwater Management Program is going to be to reach out to us. So we wanted to run through the cities, and they would approach us, and we would fill out the paperwork for that.
To be eligible, the houses have to be in the floodplain?
Yes.
I think that's what you. Then going back to the Suwannee project and others, on the chart, there's a line at about item 15, if I recall. Were the projects above the line funded and the projects below the line not funded? Was that the demarcation this year?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bill? Okay, we'll open public comment. Nathan, is there any? Nope. Okay, I'll entertain a motion concerning that letter of intent.
I move we approve item B on new business, the letter of intent to fund the 2023 Suwannee Stormwater Project.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the letter of intent for the 2023 Suwannee Stormwater Project. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Item C, consider agreement with Witt O'Brien's regarding consulting services for the ARPA funds. Nathan?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of recap the conversation we had at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting. Witt O'Brien's is a consulting company who specializes in grant management. And so their role for us would be to serve as almost a phone a friend, so that as we have questions about what's going on, or if we're using our funds appropriately, they would be able to answer those questions for us. The other piece of this is that when you're talking about money from the federal government, it's never just one click and it's never just one signature. So they will help us to make sure that we are getting all of our paperwork submitted by the appropriate deadlines. I do know some cities are dedicating full staff, if not teams of staff, to this very issue of these allocated funds. We don't have the time or the staff depth to do this in-house. So the contract is for a not to exceed amount of $20,000. I don't think we'll get anywhere close to that. And again, it's only billed on they will work at our request. So it's an hourly rate. If we don't ask them to do something, they're not just going to do it without being asked. So we should be able to keep pretty close ties on that. And in addition to that, Consulting services are an eligible expense, so this would be deducted from our overall allotment from the federal government of just over $600,000.
Okay, that was going to be my comment.
Yeah.
You'd share the amount, yeah, okay. And I've during the committee of the whole meeting, we included as part of our discussion that the use of this $600,000, we're going to be very dutiful and prudent in how we spend this, and not just a quick fix for something, but this is money that we can really use for something that really has some meaning for the city. And staff will be directing us during the committee of the whole for our discussions on what those alternatives will be. Any questions for Nathan? Okay, I'll open it for public comment. None? Okay, we'll close that, and I'll accept a motion for the agreement on the Witt O'Brien's consulting contract.
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we consider agreement with Witt O'Brien's regarding consulting services for the ARPA funds.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agreement with the Witt O'Brien's. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Item D under new business is to consider the cooperative memorandum of understanding for Johnson County Mental Health Co-Responder Program. Chief?
So this is a continuation of the program that we're already operating within. The change to this is the addition of a co-responder that is supporting Mission and Merriam because of their volume of mental health calls. They applied for a grant and received that funding. As of right now, our city is not obligated to pay any additional funds. And we have not seen an increase in our mental health calls. That being said, we are monitoring the way that this program unfolds. It will benefit Fairway with the addition of that co-responder because Merriam and Mission were they had a higher call volume for these. So the one co-responder that we had in Northeast Johnson County was very busy with both of those cities. And when we had to have calls in reference to mental health, we'd have to use the hotline or the officers would be handling it themselves. And so that being said, it pulls officers off the street. The additional officer that both of those cities have retained due to the grant is going to benefit us with no cost at this time. But we are monitoring that, and we're also looking for creative ways for funding of our project or of our support of this mental health partnership that Northeast Johnson County has with Johnson County Mental Health.
All right. Any questions for the chief?
Mayor, it's not a question, it's an observation, is that I think issues with domestic violence and mental health issues have been exacerbated during COVID. So the fact that we can add another resource seems to me a very good thing.
Okay, anything else? Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Chief. Is there a motion concerning this memorandum of understanding for the...
One item that we may want to clean up, Exhibit A has the City Hall's wrong address on it, I believe.
Thank you for catching that, Dan. All right, is there a motion concerning this memorandum of understanding?
Mayor, I'll move that we approve the additional, or at least, approve the memorandum of understanding for the additional resource for mental health.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this MOU for Johnson County Mental Health Co-Responder. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. All right, item F, consider agreement with Mid-America Pool Renovations, Inc. for repairs to the swimming pool liner. Bryce?
Okay, so this is always kind of a, we've been doing maintenance on the pool like this for, well, since I've been here. We've had these guys out every year, I think, to do some sort of work. And there's always a window. We can leave the pool unfilled for about 5 days before the liner, via our warranty, before they think the liner might start cracking and all that because of the freeze thaws and just the overall sun and everything on top of it as well. But so there's a pretty finite time that we get to check out what's going on at the bottom of our pool. And so Vicki and Jackson power washed or drained the pool and power washed it as our annual operations. We do that and found that there was pretty significant damage to not only the liner but some of the tiles at the bottom of the racing lanes that you see at the bottom of the pool. Not any more significant than we've had in the past, but still significant, need to be dealt with. So Mid-America Pool has our warranty through the liner or for the liner, and so we have to hurry up and wait on them to be able to get out there and look at that. And so they did, and we were able to get them. Originally had a $15,000 quote, and then we got it down to $7,500 after a discussion out there. So we had budgeted $10 grand for in the CIP for repairs. We knew this was coming. Unfortunately, this is going to be much more of a Band-Aid going forward for this year. It'll get us through 2022, but we're going to have to take a more comprehensive look at what we're going to do with those racing lanes in the future, because it's not uncommon for kids to walk up to the lifeguard stand with piles of tile in their hands, saying, "Hey, look, we ripped off their floor." So we're going to have to look at the options going forward, and luckily we're heading into budget season for 2023. So I'll have more information on that going forward, but this is to get us through 2022 in a much more safer environment for all of your feet that come when you come to the pool, and the kids from hopefully not peeling up our entire flooring at the pool.
Okay. Any questions for Bryce?
There's-
Jenna?
Yeah, does this cover the side panels, like in the kiddie section? There's like a few missing, I noticed.
No, those are so those will come in. That's a separate one from what we're doing here. We do have those scheduled to be done, not this weekend, but next weekend. Well, actually, by the 16th, this weekend. We're also having the portions of the zero depth area painted as well. That needs some touch ups.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I might just add, Bryce talked about the liner. The city of Fairway had the liner completely replaced in 2007, and that's started the clock on a new 25-year warranty. It is prorated, so we're now in those years where we will pay a portion of the original contract amount to help offset the cost for maintenance. But that is an aside from the tile. The racing lanes are frost-proof tile, so are the targets on the walls. Those were not warranted in the same way that the fiberglass liner was replaced, just because you wouldn't expect ceramic frost-proof tile to stay in place underwater for 25 years. So as Bryce said, we'll look at options for that, but we will continue to operate in a manner that will follow the warranty and the process that's outlined in our contract for that. So I just wanted to mention that as we look at the improvements that Bryce talks about for 2023, a vast majority of that will be related to the tile, and any other pool liner repair work would fall under the confines of our warranty in the contract from 2007.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Any other comments or questions? All right, we'll open it for public comment. Nathan, is there any? Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve item F, which is the agreement with Mid-America Pool Renovations to repair the tiles and other necessary work at the pool for the 2022 season.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Mid-America Pool Renovations. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the governing body comment section. During this time, members of the governing body will will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken during this time. Does anyone have anything to discuss this evening?
Well, while we're on the pool, after seeing the articles about Overland Park maybe not opening 3 pools and all the staffing challenges, I want to commend Bryce and the staff for, even though it said maybe we're a little bit younger crew this year, for being able to recruit a full crew so our pool can be open full hours this summer. It's a feather in your cap. Congratulations.
Yeah, that credit goes to Vicki and Jackson for doing a great job with the culture coming into this coming year, meeting the kids that are going to be a little bit younger, but are very eager to get out there as well, I believe. So we're excited.
I was going
Janet?
to, add Tanya and I are having a Ward 4 town hall on April 30th.
Okay.
So if you know people in Ward 4 or you want donuts, come by. It's at the park.
Anyone else have anything? Yeah.
Bill, could you update us on what's going on at the end of State Park Road in Belinda?
We sent a constant contact out about that about a week ago. They're planning on doing the work here within the next couple weeks. That was approved at the February council meeting, I believe, to where they'll make the permanent changes to the island.
Anything else? Okay. We'll open public comment for items not listed on the agenda. Nathan? Okay. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
John Allen Smith, Ward 2. I want a motion that we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.